What a lad. Well, to summarise today's guest, if there was no such person as Sir Richie McCaw, he probably is in the conversation as one of the all-time great sevens in the world. He had everything in his game. He was consistently one of the best players on the field during his 72 games for Canterbury, 140 for the Crusaders, and 25 for the mighty All Blacks. He then headed over to Japan, where he spent time with Panasonic and Toshiba, and he's also made the smoothest transition into coaching with 2 years coaching Canterbury in the NPC, and up-and-coming season is coaching the Crusaders. On top of all that, he is an all-time lad, so pumped to have him on. It is, of course, Matt Todd. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, Jim. That's a hell of an intro. I always love your intros. You always do a good intro, so I was interested to see what you're going to go with there.
Yeah, I always feel like a little bit of pressure on them now because everyone says that they enjoy them, so I don't want to let anyone down. And, mate, yours was an easy one. You've done so much, and, mate, what a career you've had.
Yeah, grateful for every opportunity I have. Obviously, when you're a young kid growing up playing footy, you kind of you're doing it because it's fun because you're doing it with your mates. So to be able to, I guess, play for the teams I grew up supporting as well, born and bred in Canterbury and that, so to play for Canterbury and the Crusaders and then the All Blacks as well was, a dream come true. As a little kid, that's kind of, not that, I guess you always want to be, but that's not why you play footy. You just play because it's fun, you're having fun with your mates, and then, it worked out well.
Yeah, has it what? I remember crossing paths with you on a New Zealand 20s camp way back in the day, and I guess if we told that young Matt Todd back then what you would have achieved and what you'd be looking back on now, you would have snapped that up pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I guess it was 19s and 20s New Zealand camps went to and, missed out on both. So I guess I didn't have I guess I wasn't an age grade star. It was kind of worked my way through club footy. Loved playing club footy and just enjoyed playing with your mates there. And, enjoyed playing sort of Canterbury 19s, those sort of age grade Canterbury teams, and then progressed through. And, to make my first Canterbury team was awesome. And, I guess I was fortunate enough to come into a Canterbury team that was real successful. So you learn a lot. You learn a lot about, being a professional rugby player, what it takes to, what's required to stay in the game and that. So, fortunate to play alongside some great people and some great teams.
Yeah, you said you weren't a age grade star, but you're pretty bloody good, and you could have easily been an age grade star if you were, I guess, selected in some of those teams. I know there's a fair bit of competition with John Hardy, Luke Braid, from memory, making those teams. But if you were selected in those teams, you could have easily been an age grade star because you were pretty damn good.
Yeah, I guess it's like anything in New Zealand rugby. There's always plenty of talent.
Yeah,
plenty of good players. Good players miss out on teams, and I guess the key for me was I always enjoyed playing for whoever it was. You go back and play club footy, and it was awesome. Enjoyed it, and didn't let disappointments and not making teams affect where I wanted to get to or what I want to achieve. You take on the feedback you get at those camps, and the reasons they didn't pick you or whatnot, and you try work on it, try get better, but just keep enjoying the journey you're on.
When did you love the game? When did you really get into it?
Oh, from a young kid, growing up in Kaipoi, just north of Christchurch, played rugby. Started when I was 8. Played soccer for a couple of years before that, but then I had an older brother. He changed to rugby. I changed to rugby, followed what he was doing, and then just loved footy. Would play footy in the morning, then watch him play, watch the seniors play. Just enjoyed it. Play in the backyard, any opportunity, kick the footy ball around. Watching footy or playing footy was a massive part of my childhood. Spending just down at the club rooms on a weekend was a common theme, really.
Was it just you and your brother who's older?
Yeah, older brother. He's 3 years older. So, But then you kind of, because he was older, you'd play in the backyard and you'd always lose, but it helps you, and you always aspire to chase him and catch up to him, I guess.
The younger brothers are always the toughest, really, aren't they?
Yeah, you take a few beatings along the way, don't you? So helps.
And when did you think footy would be something for you, or did that ever really cross your mind?
I don't know. I can't remember a moment where the penny dropped and it was like this could be a career or anything like that. I went to Boys High for my 7th form year.
Yeah, how did that happen?
It was just kind of wanted to change. I went to high school in Kaipoi. We didn't really have a first 15. I just played club footy for the local club and enjoyed that. But, you watched the press cup and you saw the kind of the hype and the prestige of big school games. So, I kind of decided to go there for a year, try my hand there.
Wasn't a scholarship?
No, it's a public school, mate. I paid them $200 or whatever that you go there. So,
but don't you have to be in the living in the area?
Nah, by the time you get to 7th form, because enough guys have dropped out, so there's spots available. So,
I didn't know that.
So you got in there, and then like we had an awesome team. There's some great players like Tim Bateman, Con Slade, Don Franks, Nasi Manu, Ash Dixon.
I remember them all too well at Jade Stadium in that final. What
a great game.
What an absolutely stacked side of a college first 15 team.
Yeah, it was a hell of a team to come into. But then I guess, when you're training alongside guys like that, playing, like Timmy had already played for New Zealand 19s when he was still at school, was like an absolute star. So when you play alongside those guys, I guess, and, you see you can kind of compete and, we had success that year, so you play against a whole range of teams and you go well. So that kind of, I guess, gives you confidence that you can compete at that level and you kind of see what you need to do to progress or keep progressing.
Was there anyone in that team who surprised you how well they went in their career or vice versa? Because
no, like Nasi was a beast. I think he was first 15, fifth form, sixth form, seventh form, and they won the national title all the 3 years he was at high school, in the first 15, and then he was basically straight out of school to Canterbury to the Crusaders. Like, he was incredible player and person as well, like great for the team. In my early years in Canterbury, like he was awesome. Team environment, postseason dudes, he was always leading the charge. But yeah, like he was, and then like Slady, he was a gun. Timmy was obviously probably the biggest star coming out of that team, and he obviously had a same sort of thing, straight out of school, straight to Canterbury, basically.
Yeah. Owen Franks as well, he was in there, eh?
Yeah, he was there.
Ash Dixon,
yeah.
Horrell.
Andrew Horrell, yeah. It was a good team.
Jeez, 15 players who all went on to play Super, probably.
There probably would have been 8 or 9, yeah. 10 maybe.
15.
Maybe.
So then you said you post-school, you sort of you trial for these 20s teams, you miss out on that. How hard did you take that, missing out on that?
Probably 19s I was quite gutted. I was like, because I didn't make it on scores or anything, but then went to 19s trials, thought I had a good shot, missed out and was probably quite gutted. But then same sort of thing, went back to play club and just really enjoyed playing club footy. And I think it was that year we had Canterbury 19s team and they went on a tour to Aussie and that was awesome fun.
Oh, yeah.
Went over there. So just enjoyed footy, same sort of thing, playing with, good players. Like in that Canterbury 19s team, we had quite a few guys that were in the New Zealand 19s team. So you play that, you see that you can compete at that level. Had a good tour we went to Queensland and played a couple of games over there, so that was awesome. And then next year was 20s trials, missed out again, but I guess because I've been through it, wasn't too, not that I wasn't gutted, you always want to make it, but I'd kind of been through it, so it didn't faze me too much. And then it was sort of a few years of just playing club footy before I made Canterbury in 2019.
Yeah.
Sorry, not 2009.
Yeah.
But I probably would have had 3 full seasons of club footy.
True.
Before making that Canterbury team in 2009.
Yeah. How did you get good through your teens years? Were you training hard? I remember you turning up to some of those camps. You had massive biceps. You had been curling for at least 5 years by the time you were turning up to that. So
I always, I guess, enjoyed training.
Yeah.
Like I like the gym. Like I was never really physically gifted, so I had to work quite hard. But I enjoyed training. But like at the same time, like I had to train quite a bit. Like I'd get unfit or get weak quite quick,
Oh,
so
sure.
like I'd have to train quite hard because I wasn't naturally, like not naturally fast, not naturally strong or athletic. So just kind of battled away, but kind of enjoyed battling away almost.
Yeah. By yourself? Was this all, you weren't in academy systems or were you
I made academy once. I made the under 19s or under 20 trials. I made the academy. So I was in the academy training there. And then just like I trained with my brother a bit, like he was a personal trainer, so he helped. And then just mates, like living in Kaipara, there's a few mates would just play footy or train, and train and enjoy doing that. So yeah, like I always enjoyed the kind of training aspects and never found it a burden. And I guess that helped kind of when you're just playing club footy for a few years. slowly chipping away. But I think as well, like, help just playing a lot of footy. You know, you played full club season, you might play 20 games plus a few rep ones at the end. You get games in and your game grows and it develops. You know, you learn and what works for you, what doesn't, what you need to get better at just through time on the grass, really.
Yeah. And what about like your mindset? I guess it's more around your toughness, because you were a tough player, even from those young ages. Like you say, playing a lot of games, would have been making 1,000 tackles in each of them. But you were tough, and you had a big engine on you. So had other than your brother beating you up, who I guess would have helped, 3 years older, that's a decent age gap to get beaten up. How did you get tough?
I think like it kind of goes back. I didn't have a lot of athletic ability, so I kind of just had to try hard, really. Roll up the sleeves and try hard, because there was no physical, you know, like I wasn't explosive, I wasn't fast, like I was all right, like endurance, but not epic.
Yeah.
So I guess just kind of trying hard was my biggest asset.
Was this even coming through like your school grades? You were never like the fastest in the class. You were never the strongest. You were
I was always a decent size, especially through high school. Like I wasn't small, but I was never like athletically overly gifted in that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You obviously trained that hard that
and like I enjoyed,
you got there.
Yeah, and I guess you want to try and compete, and like when you kind of get a little sniffs, it fuels you to work hard. And yeah, just enjoyed playing. And I guess, you know, when you play more games, your body kind of gets conditioned to playing, so you get used to playing long minutes and playing regular games.
Yeah. So what's your mindset going into Canterbury when you first get called in? Like with that in mind, you've worked really hard, like 4 years of club or whatever it was, to and you say you're not naturally gifted. You're coming into a side with a lot of naturally gifted athletes, some of the best in the world, and you're coming here. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I was nervous because I remember DC was in that Canterbury team too, because he'd come back from his sabbatical.
Yeah.
So like it was hellishly nervous going into that environment. But Penn's, he was the head coach.
Oh, was he? Oh,
yeah, so it was quite good. Small world. So, but there was quite a few of us as well. I think there was like 12 new guys to the Canterbury team that year.
Oh, yeah.
So there was like a decent amount of new guys that were all kind of in the same boat, and all those older guys like Andy Ellis was there, Corey Flynn were all real welcoming, welcomed in, kind of taught you what it took to play for Canterbury, what was expected, but were all real good guys and made it kind of easy to go on. But it was definitely nervous, like the expectation and standards at training, all that sort of thing was a hell of a step up from anything I've been involved in.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always got, I guess, when you kind of go through the pathfinder where you miss out, you've always got those doubts, like, do you belong at that level and that? But, you know, like the environment allowed you to just feel comfortable and be yourself and show that you did belong, kind of.
And you were playing in, from memory, pretty big games straight away. Would have been Ranfurly Shield games.
I remember 2009 we had a Shield challenge, but all like the big dog ABs came back. Richie came back, DC Bradford played, and we played Wellington. I was on the bench, and it was like 35-0. We were up, and I came on, and the final score was like 35-14. We left a couple late, but we celebrated like we had a key game. But to be a part of that at such a young age, like a Shield challenge like that, with those guys coming back, and just how well they played, and, you know, to win the Shield in your first year was awesome.
Yeah, what were the celebrations like for a young guy like that?
Awesome. Just like
initiations, or what do you have to do? Like
for Canterbury, it's 12 cans when you play. There's nothing when you first debut, but just when you play your 12 games, it's 12 cans.
Oh yeah.
But I remember we had a Cordy up there, and it was, you know, you're just a young guy, just
absolutely gee-whizzing with some of your heroes.
Just with some of the greats of the game. Yeah, you just won the Shield. Life was good, man.
Yeah. So did they come back much, or like were they playing much
that
NPC?
First 2000 because the seasons were different. In 2009 and maybe 2010, they came back. They'd play a couple. 2009, they definitely played a few games because they'd played whatever the Tri-Nations Rugby Championship, whatever it was then, and then they'd have a break before end of year tour. So they'd play a few games. So they were in and around the environment a little bit. Maybe the same in 2010, I can't remember exactly. But certainly in 2009. So that was cool even to see guys like that. You're training with them.
Yeah.
Just sort of see what they go through in a week at such a young age and young in your career was awesome to sort of see and witness.
Yeah, like we had Anton on recently who spoke about him leaving Christchurch because of, I guess, the talent around. Did it ever cross your mind? Like you obviously had McCaw and a few others in your pathway to make it, that 4 years where you're battling away in club rugby, and then even, I guess, when you're in the system, did you ever feel like you could have had a better opportunity somewhere else?
Not really. Like, obviously, because I grew up here, this was the team I wanted to play for. And like once I was in the environment, for whatever reason, like I got plenty of opportunities, whether it was injuries or Richie had a few like sabbaticals or whatnot. So like I never felt like I wasn't getting enough opportunities. I was always getting plenty of opportunities from the time I was in the team. So no, I never looked at going anywhere else really.
Yeah, not even that club patch where you were?
No, like because I was still young. Like I guess I was 21 when I debuted for Canterbury, so it wasn't like I was old and like I'd played Canterbury 19s and Canterbury Colts. So I was sort of in that Canterbury system. And enjoyed it. And Canterbury was always a team I wanted to play for. Didn't feel like I was a mile off. You know, I could sort of see potentially there's a path. So no, I just stuck at it. And
I suppose it wasn't as uncommon back then to be waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Like nowadays, if you're not playing NPC out of school, mate, guys are gone.
100%. Yeah, and like you say, it was more common than to maybe play a few years at club and then not. You don't have to come out of school like you say, like you do now, and be in a system. Or you're looking elsewhere.
Yeah, and I remember when I think it was 2011, your first year Crusaders.
Yeah.
And I think you're even keeping, like you speak about opportunities, but you pushed Richie McCaw to number 6 jersey, didn't you? That didn't happen too often. So you definitely had your opportunity.
I think at the start of that year as well, he had a broken foot, or he had saying like he missed the first quite a bit. So it was quite good, like first full season in there, and to maybe start 6 or 7 games at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Was awesome. And it was the earthquake year as well. So we were on the road the whole time. Like we went to Twickenham, played the Sharks. It was unreal. Like I'd never flown business class and were business class all the way there. And
where were you when the earthquake happened?
We'd just finished training here. Just leaving here. And then because there'd been earthquakes before, so you didn't know how big it was. Like, and then you kind of started hearing the stories coming about how this was like a major. So, oh, shit.
So you didn't feel that initially?
Like it was big, but you'd had like quite a few earthquakes. And, like there's big, like it was obviously a decent one you knew, but you didn't know how big in that. And then you kind of start hearing how the destruction in the city, and then it was, you sort of put in perspective, it was. And then so that season it was, we had no home ground. We're on the road every week. So it was a hell of a first year to kind of be involved. Like, didn't know where we were playing sometimes, and but also like to be able to go to Twickenham and play a game at that age, and that sort of stuff is pretty incredible.
And a final against the Reds and Suncorp.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that one? First final?
Yeah, it was. I just remember it was a surreal kind of, like the players we had in that team, and I probably didn't appreciate it, like how hard it was to make a final. It just was like, oh yeah, this is sweet. Like saw the talent we had in the team, so didn't probably appreciate how hard it is to make a Super Rugby final and what goes into it. And just, like it's like anything when you just a missed opportunity of how the year had gone. We've been on the road all year. We won in Cape Town the semi-final the week before. And obviously going to Brisbane, packed out Suncorp. They'd had a great year. But, we're obviously very confident. But, just, I probably didn't appreciate how hard it is to win Super Rugby or make Super Rugby at that time. And there was a big lesson from that game.
And then you call up into the All Blacks. How quickly, or how did that happen?
That was 2013. I got called in the June series, how they used to break Super Rugby. Got called in. Some got injured, I'm not sure. And and then I got called in for the French series, and then played in the third French game, and New Plymouth came off the bench maybe 10 minutes or so. But yeah,
what was that like?
Oh, it was awesome. Just like obviously the first time coming to the ABs is intimidating, and you're on edge the whole week. But then to get the on Tuesday that you're going to be playing, I was like, oh shit. So and then to run on and playing a test is it's something I guess as a kid you dream of. So to have it happen was awesome experience.
Did you? I guess throughout your whole All Black career, you were. I mean, I think how long was it? Like sort of over 7 years or 8 years. You were in and out, in and out. Did you ever feel comfortable in that environment?
Probably not until the last year. Like I think the only time I was actually named from the start of the year in stadium was 2019. Every other time I was like injury cover, and then would maybe stay in for the year. I'd be in and out. So it was always hard to ever feel comfortable in there when you're kind of in and out and that.
So you only got one All Black announcement.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Every other one was injury call up sort of thing.
Yeah. So what are those like? Like I guess in those you were hopeful to make it. Quite often didn't make it, but you're getting an injury cover call. But what's it like with that disappointment? That must have been 6 or 7 All Black disappointments.
Yeah, like I guess because I was in and out, I was always realistic. Like I was never expecting to be named ever. So then when you missed out, it was like, oh, yeah, sweet. No dramas. And then, when you got a call, it was like, oh, sweet, go in. But it was always hard because you never knew how long you're going to be in there for. You kind of just try to keep your head down and go about your work. But it's every All Blacks team that's named, good players miss out. That's why they're so good, because it's such a hard team to make, and they've been successful for so long because of that. So it was, I'd say I was never, like you always obviously want to make it, but it wasn't like I was ever disappointed I didn't make it. It was what it was. And I guess I was fortunate as well during those times. I'd always come back to Canterbury, and we had a successful Canterbury team. So it was always awesome to come back and play for Canterbury. Always enjoyed playing for Canterbury. And it was a good, fun brand of footy. And we had success. So it made it always, it wasn't like coming back to Canterbury was awesome for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And how hard is it having like a Richie McCaw in front of you as you're trying to progress your All Black career, you see Richie McCaw in front of you. It's the same with the Crusaders, I guess. Like how hard was that for you?
No, I didn't find it hard. It was awesome to be able to just see, I guess, operate week to week at the Crusaders, especially, see what he went through, getting himself ready for a week, like the recovery from when you're beaten up to get yourself ready to go again and that. So to be able to learn off something like that and just see how they operate in a week, was awesome. I think I learned a lot just around what it takes, for week in, week out consistency to be able to get yourself right week in and week out. And so I don't look at it like it was a burden or it blocked me or anything. Like it was kind of an opportunity or like a privilege to be able to kind of see how he operated and it's up close and learn from him.
Would you two compete hard at training, or what did that look like? Especially when it comes to 15 on 15, did you go hard at each other, or was it always pretty gentleman's?
I can't remember. Nothing stands out like a real handy training session or anything like that. I can't remember anything like that.
And what about on your first test? We singing the national anthem. I understand on your stag do. You didn't know the words to the national anthem. So how hard was that for you doing the your first test in the All Blacks? Did you know the national anthem? Do you know the national anthem?
I do. To be honest, it wasn't the anthem. It was that week we were going to do Kaparo Panga.
Oh, true.
And I was I've got enough to learn as it is.
Yeah.
And then we had to do that. But that was it was like you know it, but you don't. You're not 100.
How did you know it?
Well, you just see it. So you kind of...
From the TV?
Yeah. Like you've seen it a couple times, so you've got a little bit of an idea. But then you've obviously got to know it in depthly if you're going to be doing it. So that was just an added kind of...
So there was no lessons?
Yeah. But he like taught us heaps during the week because I doing it. So like he told us on the Monday or something.
Yeah.
It's like, so you had
you're
time.
Just
it wasn't
repping in the mirror all week.
And like on YouTube, like just going through, just making sure. And then like position yourself deep in the back, trying to hide yourself right away. But no, I know the anthem.
No issues in the anthem. What happened there at the stag do then? Like,
well, Cutley deep. To be honest, I can't really remember it. So I can't defend myself because I don't know how poor I was.
Sounded like you were pretty poor.
Been a big day by the end, you know. Yeah. I could probably barely talk, let alone remember the words.
And I guess one of the disappointments for you would have been 2015 Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, same sort of thing. I guess I was realistic. I wouldn't have sat there and been like, I'm a high chance of making it. You know, obviously you play the year and hopeful, but at the same time realistic. And then, so yeah, when I didn't make it, it wasn't like I wasn't shattered. It was like, oh yeah.
Mm. When did you decide to move to Panasonic? Obviously 2018 you do the move, but was that all part of it?
A little bit. Like it was just back then you could do Super Rugby.
Oh yeah. And
then you could do Japan and then come back to Super Rugby.
Yeah.
And like Andy Ellis had done a few years of that. And then I don't know how the opportunity came up, but it came up and I was like, yeah, shit, be keen as. Like it was literally you're there for 3 months sort of thing.
Absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, no-brainer. And just to go experience different culture, play in different competition and take the family overseas and that was a no-brainer. So, yeah, when that came up, it was like, yeah, sweet, jump at that.
Yeah, how many kids do you have at that stage? Because I know you got 4 now, incredible
I got 4
shift.
now. Then I had 18. I think I just had my 3rd. So, just had a 3rd.
And how hard was that juggling throughout your rugby career, the parenthood, especially from a young age? What age did you start having kids?
I think I was 23, almost 24.
Yeah, so pretty young.
Yeah, I guess it's harder for like my wife, Anna. It was harder for her. Like, I'm in 5-star hotels and stuff, having buffets. So
she's got 4 kids screaming at home.
So it's tougher for her, and obviously it's like anything, happy wife, happy life. So she, you know, having her, but just I guess have the household under control, makes everything else easier. So. And she always enjoyed like Japan. It was different, but like it was the kids loved it and cool experience and just way different to New Zealand, but safe, friendly place, cool culture. Like COVID was tough at times, like getting there and getting home. Like she had to do MIQ of the 4 kids by herself one time coming back. So
brutal. What, 2 weeks?
It might have been 10 days or 2 weeks. Something. So that was tough. And then like even trying to get a spot, that was when you had to book spots. So like stuff like that made it a little bit difficult. But like her, I guess, sort of managing the household and that made it easy. And it is tough at times away, like when you're either they're sick or
the doctors in Japan when you can't speak Japanese is
nightmare. But usually at least the doctors, like they speak a little bit of English usually in Japan, so it helps out. But I guess that's all part of when you go on an overseas experience. It's it's not all the good times. The battles like that, even trying to get stuff from the chemist, what are you getting and stuff like that. It's all part of the experience over there. Yeah,
and how'd you find the rugby over there?
It was good. It was good. Like,
well, you went to Panasonic, obviously probably the best team.
Yeah, we didn't go that good that year though. Like,
did
lost
you not?
In the quarters, so it was. Like, they'd been real good, and they've been real good since. But that year. But it was cool. Like 12 o'clock kickoffs and stuff.
Yeah,
like mostly afternoon kickoffs. Fast footy, open footy, so it's enjoyable to play in, and it's getting better and better. Like because obviously the Japanese standard picks up, but more and more foreigners are becoming locals over there, and. Like you watch it this year, there's some awesome crowds over there and that. It's obviously being well supported now. And really enjoyed the footy, I guess.
Yeah, was it hard to come back? I know, especially a lot of, I guess, forwards in particular always talk about the challenge of playing the Japanese style rugby to come back to a more physical Super Rugby.
Not for that one break, and because that end of 18, I got called into the ABs to go on an India tour from Japan.
Oh, straight there.
Yeah, because they were playing in Japan, and that's when Sam Kane hurt his neck.
Oh, yeah.
He was out, and I was in Japan, and they were playing Japan and Aussie in Japan.
Yeah.
Or something. So I got called in. So I sort of played 7 or 8 games in Japan, got called in to the ABs, and then went back and finished the Japan season at the end. So, it wasn't, there was no real...
So you're straight into test match footy, just from the back of some
Japanese
Panasonic versus
playing
Coke.
the Coca-Cola Red Sparks.
Oh, got an absolute hiding that day from you boys. But then you come back 2000, obviously it was a
19, came back 19. Yeah.
Rugby World Cup year.
Yeah.
Fully focused on making that.
Yeah, that was definitely having been in the end of year 18, I guess there was definitely a goal. 19, and obviously we had a successful season with the Crusaders, which helps, when you're playing in a good team, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to make teams like that. And yeah, that was, like I said earlier, that I think the only time I was actually named from the get-go in a team. So named, and then the World Cup, obviously how it finished wasn't ideal, but awesome experience, awesome to be part of a World Cup, and just see what goes into it, and just being, I guess, with that group for that long. Otherwise, AB's just sort of short tours, or you got the end of year tour, but you're probably 9-10 weeks as a group. So it's it was cool to be a part of.
What would you have done differently as a group especially now that you're a coach and you probably look at the game completely differently? What would you have done differently going into those semi-finals?
I guess it was hard because we played Ireland in the quarter, but our last pool game was cancelled against Italy because of the typhoon or whatever it was. So the build up to Ireland was so big. We kind of knew from the Friday before, it wasn't official to the Sunday or whatever, but you knew we're playing Ireland and they'd beaten us the year before, and it was such, you're humming on Monday because you're fresh, perfect week's prep. Everyone was fresh rearing, and then obviously massive effort in the Ireland, and then it was just, we never quite got back up to where we needed to during that week to get ourselves where we needed to be for England. And England, obviously, they were almost they peaked like we did because they couldn't get back up the week after. So it's, how I do that week different, I don't know. It's, hindsight's a great thing in that. And especially when so much goes into something, you obviously got to come down and reset and go again. And, and a lot of it, it took a lot out of the boys that game. It was a very physical game. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of tournament footy like that, test match footy, is that ability to back up, and that's what obviously great teams can do. And obviously we couldn't quite get it right that week.
Yeah, it's interesting. And one thing about your career, you speak about making the All Blacks for the first time in 2019, where you really feel like part of it. But then your decision to go back to Japan, how hard was that? And what was, I guess, the reasoning behind that? You finally make it as an All Black, and then you sort of choose the Japan route.
I guess there's a few, I was getting old. I was probably 30 going 31 by then. Family, a different family experience. And we really enjoyed Japan the previous time.
Yeah.
So we're quite keen to, and it was a real short stint, so keen to go back and experience it more. And I guess, probably even if I had stayed in New Zealand, would have I been back in there? I don't know, even though I'd probably decided anyway to go to Japan before the World Cup. I'd say I would have signed, I'd signed at least halfway through that year sort of thing. So, there was because there was no guarantees, and I was happy. Obviously, it would have been great to finish on a win at that World Cup, but I was happy with what I'd done in New Zealand.
Yeah,
was ready for a fresh challenge and just something different. And I guess the Japan opportunity came up, and jumped at it.
How much of the yen factor is it involved in those decisions?
Yeah, definitely, especially as you start, you have family to support, and that obviously plays a big part. Well, it's a part, definitely. There's obviously the experience part, going somewhere different, and then just a change when you're like being in the same sort of Canterbury and the Crusaders for a certain amount of time, like just going to experience something different, seeing how things are done somewhere else plays a part as well. But yeah, definitely, money is a contributing factor.
Especially with the yen euro.
The exchange rate was real good then.
True. It's dropped a wee bit.
It's dropped a lot. It's dropped a hell of a lot.
Has it?
Yeah, when I went over then, it was probably 63.
Oh, no wonder.
And now it's like
no wonder you're walking
89.
away from the All Blacks. How was your body at this stage? You mentioned your age, 31.
Well, that's another thing. Like I dislocated my shoulder during the World Cup, and then like twice did it. Like the first week we got there at training, dislocated it. I was like, shit, I'm going to be sent home, before we've even kicked off.
Oh, really?
But like the doc was like, nah, it's sweet. You'll be able to rehab it for like a couple of weeks.
Jeez.
So sweet. Did that, played a couple of games, and I dislocated it again in that quarterfinal against Ireland. And then it was sort of.
Did you come off?
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't. I stayed on, but then I couldn't tackle, and so I got done. I got done for no arm tackle and got yellow carded.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I couldn't use my arm as like stuff, so I just tried to dive in front of them to stop them on their picking and going, and then I got yellow carded, so I was off.
Yeah.
But then same thing, like rehabbed it for a little bit, played 15 minutes in the third and fourth playoff. Because then I had to pass a medical to go to Japan as well.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, am I going to pass it? But passed it. It was all right. And then like 3 games into Japan season, done it again.
You beat the system.
Had to get surgery. But then COVID hit that season and got cancelled anyway. So I only missed about 2 or 3 games. So I wasn't too bad. But yes, then it came back, had surgery on it. And then probably it never got back to 100%. Like whether it was just because, of my age and the wear and tear on it, or whether because I had surgery and then COVID hit my rehab wasn't like it would have been if I was, COVID wasn't there and I could, I've gone, done it more with the physio all the time. So.
How do you stay on with a dislocated shoulder? Like pop it back in. How sore is that? Because I've only dislocated my shoulder once.
It was pretty sore. And then like the worst time was when I done it in Japan and I couldn't pop back in.
Oh yeah.
And it was probably like 25 minutes. It was sitting out.
That's what I had. That's the most painful thing ever.
And then like the relief when it goes in, though, you just
I was asleep to get my back out. It never happened. I never got that relief. But
that's probably one of the most satisfying feelings. Shoulder
in life
slips back in. And you're like, oh.
Were you one of those guys who, when the doctor would come up, would sort of like push him away because you're that tough, or
not then? Like you know something. It's not right. But when I first did it, I was like, oh, like I didn't know I'd dislocated. I was like, shit, that's not.
Yeah.
Right. And then he just popped it back. Like it popped in quite easy then. And then same that second time I did it, slipped back in. But in Japan, I don't know if the doctor, he might have been a trainee or something, and he was hopeless. And it's just like, and he almost just gave up and waited to the end of the game till like the match doctor came, and I was just like in agony. Didn't give me any, like no.
What's the silver thing that they?
No, like whistled it on the green whistle or anything. I'm just in agony waiting for the game, and then he just popped back in like 2 seconds. Oh, where have you been 25 minutes ago?
That is the downside of Japan, the medical, isn't it? And physio.
Some of it is, but like I guess it's part of the overseas experience.
Yeah,
and sometimes you got to go away somewhere to appreciate how good sometimes you got it in that.
100%.
So sometimes you just sit there and laugh at
it.
But it's all part of it.
What other parts of the Japanese life used to frustrate you or do your head in?
Like because we were Toshiba, we were inside the company.
Oh yeah.
So we'd have to walk in through the like the security every day. Like so you have to have your name tag, and if you didn't have your name tag, you'd have to sign in and like trying to sign in like a Japanese form. You're like, oh, I forgot my name tag. I'm just like, and then literally like the rugby's just there. Just there's a nut, like they're real by the rules. They're not
sticklers for rules.
So they're not just waving you, and it's like like half an hour.
Yeah,
because you forgot your name tag. I don't know. it's like some of the stuff you have to do over there is I'll talk like it's different, but it's all part of the experience.
Yeah. Well, so, and when did you get into coaching? Like, when did your coaching passion start? And
well, I guess like late, as you get later in your career, you have more of involvement around different stuff and that, and then with how the sort of you get a bit of time off in the Japan season, I come back in between I think 21 and 22 Japan seasons and coached Canterbury 19s. Like I just I messaged, I think it was Jace Ryan maybe, then he put me on to Webby and just see if there's any kind of rep teams I could be involved with, just because how it was, like club season was well and underway. So I helped out the Canterbury 19s team, which was cool, and like enjoyed that and got a little bit of a, I guess, sort of taste of it, and was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And then just how it worked out heading into the 2022 NPC season, so Canterbury's coaching staff all changed. So they were kind of, obviously they tried to find a head coach first, and then it was about piecing a team together. And Gus just rang me up and asked me about it, if I'd be keen. And I was like, yeah, should I be keen? But I had to obviously check with Tashir because I still had to go back there, and I mean I needed a late start. But they were all good about it. So then came back, coached that 2022 season, and then like I guess life's all about timing and opportunity, and did like because I was looking to probably go back and play in Japan, but it was for like a low division Japanese league, like it was Div 4, and they ran in the old season.
Div 4,
yeah.
holy!
But it's still quite good money. So. Okay. But they ran in the old season, so I wouldn't have been able to do coach Canterbury. And I'd talk to Gus about it. He's like, yeah, sweet, no worries. And then I had a missed call from him the day I was flying back to New Zealand, and I thought it was about he wanted my decision on if I was going to do Canterbury or not, because I was kind of delaying just because I kind of verbally agreed but hadn't signed a contract or anything to stay there. And then he talked about the Crusaders opportunity, and I was like, oh, sweet, yeah.
You're on.
I'm done. Just like family-wise, it was getting harder and harder because I would come sometime, but not all the time. So that time apart, and even having coached and then gone back and played, like, and as I was getting older, like it was getting harder, as I sort of talked about at the start, because I was not real athletic or naturally gifted. Like I needed work hard during the week to make myself feel good for the game and that. So when that kind of started to get harder and the motivation starts to wane a little bit, it was getting more and more difficult. So then when the opportunity came to be able to just coach, it was like I just jumped it. And like to be involved with a team like this, and obviously love my time playing for the Crusaders, to be able to come back and now coach. And like I guess it's like with it comes the expectation around the responsibility of the role, but at the same time that excites you. You have to be at your best each day, and the environment demands that. But it's you wake up each morning excited by the challenge that awaits you and that. So when that opportunity came up, I jumped at it.
What was the biggest challenge for you when you were coaching Canterbury? When you come back and coach Canterbury, you're playing, coaching, playing. What's your biggest challenge as a coach coming in for the first time?
There's heaps.
Yeah.
Like computer side of it.
Yeah.
Had no idea. So that side of it, and even just kind of like how you build it, like through the season. Obviously, it's a real short preseason NPC. So what's important and how you build it, and like you're learning plenty. Like still learning plenty every single day. It's like when you're early in your coaching journey, you're just learning heaps and you're adapting. But I think it helps. You've got to be flexible and able to adapt, and I think that's something I'm quite good at, like not being stuck in my way, like I have to do this, knowing, and I think a big one as well, knowing that there is so much you've got to learn, so being open and being aware of that and embracing that. But like, I guess the hardest thing was probably that whole technology side of it, especially these days, like the players do so much of that. They expect so much of it. It's so interactive in that kind of space and that. So, especially in Japan, we don't do a ton of that. You go over there, not a ton of computer work, analyst, review, preview type stuff. So that was probably the hardest initial adjustment. And then it's kind of just that planning, evolving, keeping it fresh, keeping that stimulation week to week so that it keeps getting the players excited and keeps challenging them, and then that balance of what do you need to show the team, what don't you need to show the team, what's important. You've only got so much time in the week. Where you're going to put your time, that whole, and that's just a learning that's a working out what each group needs, what each individual needs, kind of being able to adjust and as you kind of figure that out or work that out.
Yeah. And you speak about the players, and obviously you played with a huge amount of the guys still in the squad. What's that like for you, coaching the guys that you played with? And I guess I know you're friends with a lot of them still. Like, how do you find that balance?
To be honest, not too bad. Like, I almost, having those guys that I've played with, especially some that I've played a lot of footy with, I guess you can kind of really trust their opinion. Like, if you're not sure on something, you can go to them, or you've got that good relationship. I guess coaching, a lot of it's around those relationships, having those relationships with the players, and having those with certain people helps already. You've got those relationships established. I guess there could be times it's difficult where, tough conversations and that, but that's all part of the job. And I've actually, because quite often, like a lot of people said, it must be hard to coach people that you played with. But to be fair, to be honest, I probably haven't found that at all. Yeah, I've almost found it easier coaching guys that you played with because you kind of understand them.
They know you.
They know you.
I agree.
And that sort of thing. So, yeah, so far, it's early days.
Yeah.
Hasn't been an issue so
Have
far.
you had to have a hard conversation yet?
With someone I played with?
Or with anyone? What's been the toughest conversation where you felt
around like selection ones are probably always the toughest. Yeah. Particularly ones where it's like the person, they've played well, but someone's just playing better. Like it's not so much what you're not doing, it's just what this guy is doing. Like they're always the tough ones. Like
when you can't give them
or what do I need to do to get better? I'll just be more like that guy. But it's not like there's not, like you say, a clear, we need you to get better at this to get back in the team. It's kind of like you've just got to keep doing what you're doing. It's good, but at the moment, this guy's better for the team kind of thing. Those are always the difficult conversations where it's not for the person that you're talking to, they don't walk away with a real clear path back into the team, I guess, is the toughest ones.
What do you miss about playing? Did you miss it instantly?
There's probably a couple of moments I miss, like one's that feeling just before you run out, like almost a knock on the door and it's time to go, and that you're walking out, that kind of, the week, the prep's been done, it's time to perform now. Like you put a lot of time in during the week to that 80 minutes and now's the time. Like that feeling you get as you're walking down, probably miss that. And then that kind of sitting in the sheds, like exhausted but job's done, the satisfaction of you've got, you've emptied the tank and you've achieved what you set out to achieve. Like, because coaching, you kind of get that, but you're already on to the next week, like you already previewed the next team. You're already thinking like, what do we need to get better this week? So you can't kind of, well, this is me and you, I don't know how you feel, but you can't enjoy kind of that moment as much as you can as a player because you're almost already on to the next. I don't know, like how you feel.
I was just thinking around you walking out. I think it could be something we could start for you, is get you to lead the boys out as the coach, just so you can keep that feel. Get the knock
all under the arm.
Today the Crusaders we let out by coach,
and then just swerve up into the coaches.
Run along, high five everyone, and up into the box. What do you reckon?
I'm open to it. If it helps the boys, I'm open to it.
But I agree around enjoying the game, because you're always you're 3 days ahead or 2 days already looking at the next game. I think sometimes the hard thing's not getting confused around who you're playing still.
You're like talking about, no, actually, sorry, that's next week. Don't worry about that.
Oh, it's fascinating, mate. You've done it so well, the transition into coaching. What about physically? Like, people talk about the physical side of the game, staying fit. how have you managed to do that? I suppose you're playing like basically a year ago, but
yeah, like I've got a wee home gym set up, and I guess I just like that sort of. I guess when you retire, you want to make it as take away as many like reasons not to exercise as possible. So I got a set up in the gym at home, and then like so I train like 5 to 6 in the morning, and then so then my wife can like go for a run, and then before I
is this every day?
like during
Most
the
days?
week, most days.
Jeez.
And like just that works. Like it works. Then my wife can go for a run, and then get the kids like when they're at school, get them to school, and I go to work or whatnot. So that works. And then like I know I've got a little whiteboard in there, and if I write up what I'm going to do, I'll do it. But if I haven't written anything up and I wake up, like you let it pass. But I know if I've written it up, I'll do it. So just do that the night before. If I'm going to whatever I'm going to do, I'll just write it up, and then like I'll get up and I just know I have to do that.
I like that. That is a good system. No excuses.
Well, that's it.
5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. It's good in summer. It's when it gets winter. It's not so. I actually haven't done it in winter. It's a new thing. I've only done it over summer.
Started last week. New Year's resolution.
I started it sort of October, but it's always been warm.
Yeah.
So June will really test it when it's frozen. But that works it's like anything. Like when you get into a routine, and take away as many kind of reasons or like obstacles why you wouldn't, like it's not, I don't have to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's no travel time and it's just there. It's like, sweet, get up, go do it. But then it's done. And then you feel like I feel way better during the day, knowing I've done that.
Mate, with that training behind you, I know this question came up, but you'd be ready, wouldn't you? Like if there was a crisis for the Crusaders at 7 this year.
Nah, like I'm probably 10 kgs lighter, I reckon, than what I played at.
You could still compete though, right? You'd do a job. You'd know the system anyway.
No, but that's the thing. Like if you go in, you're like, what are you doing? Sorry. Like you're at a hiding to nothing. If you make one mistake, what are you doing? You don't know what you're doing out there.
You taught us this.
You taught us. You don't even know it. So like, it's a lose-lose, that situation.
Oh, but you could be an absolute hero.
Wow, it's hero.
Man of the match. Another 30 tackles.
It's hero or zero. You just get bowled first one. Sorry, boys.
Well, you say you'd put a rule through that. Like,
yeah, there'd have to be a horrific injury crisis. You'd have to get called up at 10.
I'm talking straight 7s. Like we're at 5 or 6 7s down. Nah, we're going deep.
We're deep.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I'd be the same. Okay, well, we will get on to the questions because we got through most of that. Heaps came in for you, by the way.
You say that all the time.
You're a popular man. Graham started on Instagram.
Does he have Instagram?
And he's got 400 questions for you around how you're his best favourite player. But first one, this might have been from Graham. Who was your biggest influence on your rugby career and life?
Probably my older brother when I was young.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I changed playing rugby because he did.
Yeah.
You compete in the backyard. You kick the ball around with him heaps. So probably him, especially early, as you're kind of getting into footy and, he would have been my biggest influence.
What about a player? Any players?
I guess when I first made Canterbury and the Crusaders and that, like Corey Flynn and Andy Ellis were massive for me, just around, what was expected, like week to week. But then also that kind of enjoyment factor of enjoying. But if you enjoyed it, you had to work hard as well, and that to kind of for the enjoyment. So they were big for me, just around standards and what was expected of you at training, like the training level and. When you showed up to training, you knew your stuff and you could do a job and stuff. So they were big for me early in my career.
Ah, very good. Okay, next one. Why do they call you T-Rex on the piss?
It's because when I've had a couple of the hands sort of slip up, they just rest there.
How early does that happen? Do you feel it? Do you know when your hands are going to come up?
Nah, it's not. Well, Nah, I don't feel it.
No, you're just like slow.
That's just
everyone else sees it.
I guess probably the joints just all tighten up into
your
that
massive
kind
biceps
into that comfortable position.
Is that holding something, or is that just normal?
No, it's not holding you.
Yeah, not even.
Know.
Yeah,
or maybe a stub like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're kind of just there.
Quick, not big movement.
Yeah, like it's efficiency.
Because I remember Cody saying, like, you go the best on the piss out of anyone he's ever played with, and the T-Rex arms was a big part of it, just your ability to just keep going.
Well, like I said, I just battle away.
No talent.
No talent.
Just go hard.
Just try your best.
And you've certainly done that.
So you just try, mate.
Yeah.
Keep showing up.
Keep showing up. Keep turning up. Okay. Talk us through the heel kick try assist in the Japan League.
Well, actually, I just shelved it like it was an offload and I dropped it behind me. So I just chucked a foot out and it happened to just
go over
my head and someone scored. Like it was because I just shelved it. Like I could have caught it and scored, but I dropped it. And then it's like stuck a foot out to try and sort of avenge my error, and it just happened to come off nicely.
Absolute miracle play.
Yeah, it was a fluke. Like it was a mistake that turned into something good.
One of your greatest plays of your career, or?
Nah, it wasn't. Like it was.
You're still disappointed you didn't catch it.
Well, that's it. It was
unnecessary.
An unnecessary play. Should have just caught the ball in the first place.
What was, if you did have to highlight one play of your career, what would it be?
One play?
Yeah. What if you could not summarize, but I guess highlight your career in one play?
I don't know. I've got no idea. I don't have a great memory, mate. It's sort of all blues, and so no, I couldn't name one play.
Okay. Is your memory due to concussions?
No, I don't have.
You've never had a good memory?
No. Like it's sort of selective memory. I remember some stuff, but other just sort of, like they just all merge and you can't kind of, just not very detailed memory.
Yeah, okay.
Like a remembering a specific.
Even like moment. The greatest moment of your career.
Oh, like my moment would be winning the 17 final.
Oh, yeah.
Would be
as a whole
moment, but not like one play.
Not an individual play.
I couldn't remember one play.
Because you're a big team man, you never really focused on your...
exactly. It was always about the team.
Team first.
The team moments.
It's because you did always wear headgear. So what was the reason behind that?
I just started wearing it like maybe when I was like 14, 15. Yeah. And then it's like if I didn't have it on, I just felt like I was missing something. It was just part of, and like some games I'd have to take off because it'd be hot. But I remember my All Black debut, I couldn't find on the sideline.
Oh, shit. Panic.
I'll just have to get out there. But yeah, like it was just more around.
Did you go on without it?
Yeah, I went on without it because I couldn't find it. I put it somewhere.
Rattled?
A little bit rattled. Not what you need, but flexible, so I adjusted. But it was just, I'd just always worn it from like that young age. So it was kind of just like, that was part of getting ready for a game, like putting on your boots, putting on the headgear kind of. So yeah, that's why I just always wore it.
Yeah. Do you miss it? Like maybe that's
I chuck it on at home sometimes. Just
first coach to coach with his headgear on.
Yeah. Maybe get out on the grass tomorrow.
Run down the tunnel with your headgear on and go coach with your headgear. Yeah, you're still living like a half experience.
Getting that game day feel.
Yeah. I just could do it. I don't know. There's no reason why not.
Well, that's it. It's an option.
Grow a brand. Right, now you're thinking.
What a lad on the front.
Now we are talking. What a lad headgears, as worn by Matt Todd and all successful coaches.
In the coach's box, the headgear for coaching.
Get Ray wearing one. Big Scott Robinson All Black debut with what a lad headgear.
He'd do it for you, surely.
Oh, not with his hair.
Nah, he wouldn't.
He's too precious with it. Okay, fittest player that you played with?
Fittest? Richie McCaw.
Was he?
Yeah, shit. He just ate up like conditioning or running blocks. Like I remember Rito used to always run, like when they were back for the ABs, Rito would always have to run with him. Richie would just be flying, Rito's just hanging on. But yeah, he was freak. Oh, and he was pretty good as well. Like he could run.
Yeah.
And just push himself like he had the Bronco record for quite a while.
Oh, true.
Because he could just push himself and compete for that record. So, yeah, probably those two.
Oh, nice. Okay, next one. Any stories about your time playing for the Barbarians?
It was an epic. It was an epic Barbars. We played Aussie.
When was that? What year was it?
2014.
Oh, yeah.
And it was at the start of, usually they play at the end of the end. It was at the start, so we had quite a young team. Angus Tarval was on it. He was the MVP of it. He would go. And it was actually just after you boys had won the NPC, Taranaki.
Oh, yeah, 2-4.
So he had
he was still on a high.
Straight into that, and he was definitely MVP of that tour.
Oh, he'd love to hear that.
Yeah. All-nighters into, commentating on the bus. But to put on a clinic at training. Had to get a Kelly kick catcher just to so you could see the seed, but he was definitely... but we had the Honey Badger in our team as well.
Oh, yeah. What was he like?
He was good value.
Yeah.
Just yarns and that. But we had quite a young team as well because all the actual international teams were just starting their tours, so it was kind of leftover guys.
Yeah.
So it was quite good, unreal, you get looked after and taken to the nicest spots but no, I don't know if there's any good.
How'd the T-Rex arms go? You hanging there?
Oh, they would have been there.
There or thereabouts.
I can't remember.
No,
it all merges, so I can't remember details to tell a good story about it. But they would have been there at some stage, no doubt.
Your memory's shot. Okay, what made Richie so good? You just mentioned his fitness, but people love Richie, eh? People love him.
I guess just as well, because competitiveness, his work ethic, his ability to get back up week after week, you beat up after a game, but he knew how to get himself recover and do what he needed to. So by train well, and then by the next week is ready to go. We played so many games at such a high level for such a long time. It's that, I guess that just ability to continually back up and perform.
You could do that as well. I look at your career, and that was something that you could always do. Consistency, back up, huge work rate in each game. I'm guessing you learnt a little bit off Richie to be able to do that. But what is the key there to be able to continually front week in, week out, putting your body through the ringer?
I guess it's a bit of it's around learning what works for you, what do you need to do on a Monday or a Sunday, to be able to train well on a Tuesday, because then that sets you up for, and then recover, getting your week, and it's not one size fits all. It takes a bit of trial and error, and even your day of your game, what do you do, or your day after, I guess it's figuring out yourself individually what works for you, what do you need to do in a week, if it's a short week, you've obviously got a day less, so what do you have to get in still, and what can you miss out on, and but yeah, I think it's more a individual hanging, but working out for yourself individually. What do you need? What's important for you? It's not the same for everyone, I don't think.
Mate, you obviously nailed it, whatever you did. Best jackler in the game?
Currently?
Yeah, let's go there.
Probably Artie, he's quite good at, well, he's got, quite a bit of variety. He can get on it early, he can get on it late, so has quite good influence at the breakdown.
Nice. What about all time? Can be yourself.
Probably the hardest to play against was David Pocock.
Oh, yeah.
When he got on the ball, it was hard to move, and he was just such a brute, so big on the ball and strong. And he got on the ball all the time. Obviously had a good sense for when there's opportunities arose, but he was probably the best.
Where do you see Quagga Smith? I saw him as a percentage-wise winning it by a fair, significant way.
Yeah, I did see that, and just some of his clips. He is very good. He's and he's got a bit of variety as well. Can jackal, but can disrupt the breakdown in other ways as well. He would be right up there actually at the moment of just general breakdown influencer.
He's an influencer.
He is.
Okay.
He's an influencer. At the
hardest player to tackle?
The bus was always tough.
Oh, yeah.
Prime bus.
Julian Savere in his prime.
Like just had the wing off the line out.
Yeah.
Line up. Like he was always tough. Yeah, I'd say him.
Nice. Fair enough. Okay, as a former player, now coach, what's special about the Crusaders and how do you always win?
It's a tough question. There's a lot in there.
There's like layers of it.
There's a lot.
You can take that wherever you like, son.
I guess, it's a lot of like little stuff done well, like the environment's good. I guess the senior players especially live like the values, like often they're put on a wall and, it means, but it's forgotten about. Whereas like with your values or whatever you, like however you want to word them, whatever what you live by, like it should be seen, if you're new into the environment, you just see what the standards are or the expectations are in the environment. And I think that the senior players or the more experienced players do a really good job of making sure anyone new to the environment, that's real clear for them. And I guess, the coaching and management staff play a part in that as well. But like that's a big one. It's not just, the expectations and whatnot are clear for people to see, not just be told about. It's a big one. And not just some of the time, but all the time. Like it's easy to kind of live something, when someone's constantly, or looking at you, but it's even that stuff when no one's looking, like still doing the work and still knowing the expectations and like it's like just lots of little things all add up, like it sounds, oh yeah, that's easy, but it's that kind of ability for it to always happen and not be like, that's just the norm. It's not like someone's having to go out of their way to try to do that. It's kind of just what's expected and how people live their life. So that's so it's easy to see.
It all sounds like easier said than done, though, isn't it? Like, it does all sound easy, but it is not
especially
that easy.
to do it all the time and be consistent with it, and for like everyone to buy into it. Like it's easy in a team to have, like, because in an environment or in a team, there's always people that want to be playing more than what they are, but it's about those people knowing their role's important and what they're doing is important. And often it is like the guys outside the 23, like the happier they are and the more valued they are and the more they understand their role, the better it makes everything. So I think that's always also a big part of it.
Mate, nailed it. Okay, 2 more to go. This is going to test your memory, this one, but best bender you went on?
I don't go on many, to be fair.
No, you might remember one.
But probably my best ever end of season do. Well, there's two. Post 2017 was good just because of the occasion.
Yeah,
like being in South Africa, having just won,
and the flight back.
The flight back was tough, but up until that point, it was awesome. Well, up until the airport, it was awesome. But like 2010, NPC used to run up and it used to finish the week before, or the weekend before Cup Week.
Oh,
and this particular year we played on the Friday, so it was even better. It was the Friday night before Cup Week.
Yeah,
and as a youngster, it was awesome. So it was, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you're into Cup Week. So that would probably be my all-time favourite end of season do.
I bet, mate. 5 days of it. Living. Okay, last one. Best piece of advice for a Woodlad listener?
I think just enjoying the journey. Like everyone, especially these days, is in such a rush to get to the finish line or where they, whether it's make a team or whatever. But often it's like the stuff you do along the way or the journey to get to there it's the most enjoyable part. And then you enjoy it. Everyone's in such a rush, and if they don't get there straight away, it's almost like a failure. But enjoy the time it takes to get there. Don't be in a rush. Know that, like, just because, and I guess everyone's always comparing themselves to other people, but people achieve stuff at different rates. Like don't ever compare yourself to someone else. You're not competing. You're only ever competing against yourself. So enjoy like you getting better slowly and seeing the progress in you, as opposed to comparing yourself to someone else and he's made it and I haven't yet, or I need to be here. Like, it's just enjoy where you are in your journey, and enjoy you getting, like, making small gains or getting slightly better.
Jeez, I like that. That is why you're going to be a outstanding addition to this Crusaders side this year. What wisdom you've got just flowing from your brain cells. When you can remember things, you are on absolute fire.
Just got to remember them.
But mate, appreciate you coming on, giving up your time. Like I said from the start, followed your journey closely since we met back at those 20s camps, but to see what you've been able to achieve throughout your career has been awesome. And to have you working alongside me this year at the Crusaders, I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully we'll have a successful year, but looking forward to seeing you with your T-Rex arms at some point and running out with your headgear on and leading the boys up into the stands. It's going to be a good year.
Plenty to look forward to.
Appreciate it, though.
Cheers, Jim.
You're a lad.